If you've ever looked at your bank balance and thought, I made money, but where did it all go? Then this video is for you. Hey, I'm Sherelle Martin with Nitram Financial Solutions, where we teach bookkeeping without boundaries. And today we're going to talk about cash flow, and I'm going to share with you 3 quick cash flow wins that you can implement in a weekend, i.e. this weekend. No spreadsheets, no accounting degree required. So let's jump in. Weekend cash flow win number 1. Let's start with clarity. And in order to get that, so that you can have a better understanding of what's going on, you're going to create a 30-day cash flow snapshot. So what does that mean? You're going to take a calendar, a spreadsheet, or a piece of paper. I know I said spreadsheets aren't required, but you can use them if you like. You're going to take one of the following and you're going to map out where all the money that's coming in your business and all the money that's going out over a 30-day period. And if your bookkeeping is up to date, then you can actually print out a report from your accounting system, which would make this part a lot easier. If your bookkeeping is not up to date, separate video, separate conversation for another day, then you'll have to use a calendar or a spreadsheet or a piece of paper. But you're going to map out all the money that comes in and goes out of your business over a 30-day period. We're not talking about forecasting for 5 years out. We're not even talking about forecasting 18 months out. This is all so that you can figure out what's going on over a 4-week period and understand what is coming up in the next 4-week period. So you're going to map out what's happening in the current period. And if you already know any expected inflows, map them out for the next 30-day period. What you're going to discover is, do you have enough money now in order to support what's going to happen in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 days, right? That's the goal, to determine where you are so that you can assess if you're able to go forward. The goal is to help you be able to make decisions with your eyes wide open. So we're not guessing about what's going to happen, what we're going to do. You're going to know exactly what you're able and capable of doing. Weekend cash flow win number 2 is to separate your project money from your profitability. So this is specifically for my consultants, my interior designers, my business coaches, anyone who is receiving large lump sums of money up front. Even contractors can definitely take advantage of this, right? So if you're receiving some type of deposit up front, for simplicity's sakes, we're going to just say a $6,000 deposit. So let's say you get a $6,000 deposit up front. Part of that money goes towards expenses. If you're an interior designer, you're collecting funds for furnishings, you're collecting funds for materials, furnishings, any business expenses that you need to do up front and get the project going. You're going to collect a deposit up front. Part of that deposit is going to cover that stuff. Part of that deposit is going to cover people and other future expenses. But what tends to happen is that businesses stick it all in the operating account and then the business starts operating, right? And then next thing you know, you're paying for your insurance and you're paying for your rent and all these other things from that bucket. What needs to happen is that you need to take those funds and put them in a separate account. You can create another bank account. You can call it project funds. You can call it client funds. You can call it project reserves, whatever you want to call it. You can call it that and put the money that comes in from the deposit into that bucket. And when the money is earned, you transfer it over into your operating account. So this is a system you can set up really quickly over the weekend. You can go to the bank, set up a bank account, have it ready to go by Monday morning so that you can start immediately on Monday as funds come in, put them in that account. Now, you're probably saying, but I do have to operate my business. I do have to pay my rent. I do have to pay my insurance and all these other things. So what do I do then? You can come up with an allocation system. We use one in our business where we come up with an allocation system where part of our money does go into a separate bucket for operating and taxes and all the things. And then the money that goes towards the project is separate in a separate account, right? And because of the way our services are priced and because we price them accordingly, the deposit covers all of those things. It's not just covering the client expenses. So what I would recommend is that when you're pricing out your services and you're coming up with a deposit, ensure that you're receiving a deposit that is large enough to cover the part that needs to be paid for plus operating expenses, but that you're not spending it all on operating, and then there's nothing left to pay for materials. And the third weekend cash flow win is to save for subscriptions. So similarly to the project costs, right? We have subscriptions that are coming out every single day of the month. I promise every day of the month, there's a subscription coming out. And these things often creep up on us, right? There's $97 for this program. There's $12 for this app. There's $29 for this. And then there's, we forgot about the one that we signed up as an annual subscription. So that's $500 coming out in one whop that I've totally forgot about and didn't plan for, right? Is it just me? It's not just me. It's you too. Like I said before, we allocate our income coming in the door into different buckets. So every dollar that comes in gets split. There's a percentage that goes into an account for taxes. There's a percentage that goes into profit. There's a percentage that goes into operating, which covers all of our subscriptions and our credit cards. There's a percentage that goes to payroll. Sound familiar? Probably because it is. It is the system that Mike McCallowitz created in his book called Profit First. So I'm not taking any credit for this. This is totally his thing, but it works. And so based off of the percentages that we've calculated, money is going into these individual buckets. We charge all of our subscriptions to one single credit card. So I have a credit card that I use to pay for travel and random things and eating out and meals and buying supplies and all that. But I have one card that is specifically, strictly only pays for subscriptions. So all the money that gets allocated to my operating account, a good chunk of it goes to pay that credit card off every single month. So I'm not carrying a balance. I'm not wondering about, if there's enough money to pay for them because that money is set aside. If you don't have a credit card, you can equally do the same thing with a separate bank account. We started out initially using a PayPal card because at the beginning of the business, we didn't have any business credit and we couldn't get a credit card separate for the business. So I set up a business PayPal account and did the exact same thing. And so what this does is it allows that the money for the subscriptions are set aside in a bucket. They're covered, even if you charge them all to one credit card so you can get the points. If you know. Then the money that's in that operating account can just pay that card off every month and it's done and over with. Any additional funds that are left in the operating account, because there should be some left in that account, would pay for other operating expenses such as your insurance and rent and all the other things. Again, this is all based off assuming that your pricing is set up in a way that covers your costs. If it's not, separate video for a separate day. But today, we're just talking about 3 things that you can do this weekend to get your cash flow up starting on Monday. The first one is to do your cash snapshot, where you're taking account of all your income and expenses over the next 30 days so you can plan ahead. The second one is to separate your project money. So opening up a separate account and putting your project money in that account. This applies again, whether you're an architecture, an interior designer, a coach, a consultant, a construction contractor, all of it applies. And then the third win is that you also set up a system where you're allocating money that for your subscriptions into a separate account, paying them all on a separate card, whatever the case may be, so that those expenses are covered as well, because subscriptions are a huge money leak. And if you do not get a handle on them, they will suck you dry, for lack of a better word. So those are your 3 weekend cash flow wins for the week. If you like this video, please subscribe, share it with the world, and like us. And we will see you next week with another Bookkeeping Without Boundaries tip. Take care.